Dun, 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 dun. All right, come on. Can not everybody come in as archaeological Jess? This is a 118 mission. Hey guys, Roundedtiktak here, bringing you another trap tunnel guide. But before we get into that, just one or two disclaimers that I just want to tell you guys. Number one, apologies for not putting out videos in the past couple of days. Life gets in the way sometimes, and I just had to deal with some personal things. Everything's okay, so don't worry. Just have to maybe work on something, and my upload schedule might be a little iffy for the next couple of weeks. Number two, this tunnel is something that needs to be learned by all new players. This is the tunnel that will get you through harder content. However, if you're a veteran of the game, you probably already know what this tunnel is, exactly what it does and why it does what it does. So if you guys are a veteran and you want to stick around and maybe I could teach you something new, fantastic. But if you're new to the game, this tunnel, you have to try it. You have to figure it out because we don't know what event we're getting next and we don't know how hard it's going to be. And if you have any hope in hell of completing it, you're going to need to learn this tunnel and one more tunnel guide, hopefully before the update. So guys, sit back, relax. This is the Alternator. This is our dramatic reenactment. This is what we're going to show you exactly how to build the tunnel. But let's just talk about the point of Fortnite. The point of Fortnite is not always to kill the husks. In fact, there's a really cheesy strategy that you can use with one of the constructors where you never kill any husks and it never spawns anymore. So that is a thing. However, in late game content, it's a little different than that. Anything can one-shot you or one-shot your base, so you do need to find the right combination of damage and time management. And time management is key here. 9 times out of 10, you're only going to be using poison or gas traps to actually damage the husks, and meanwhile, everything else in your tunnel is going to be for slowing them down and making them take longer to get to your base. Now, like I said, this tunnel is very expensive and probably well known from veterans. I just made sure to cover it on this channel just in case this new event comes out and you need a tunnel and you can't beat it and you need a tunnel or you need an idea of why. This tunnel is probably the best tunnel in the game for its cost. There is another tunnel that competes with it, but I don't like it as much, and we'll cover that in the video when I cover that tunnel. That's the next one I'm talking about, hopefully later this week. So if you're a veteran of this game, you might not have to watch this one, but thank you for stopping by and hanging out with us. But if you're new, make sure you sit your butt in your chair and learn this tunnel, because anything that is difficult, a 118 4-man, or anything you're having problems with, this tunnel will definitely help you. Now, what are the roles on my trap? I get those questions asked all the times in my comment section, so I'm just gonna let you guys know I have an entire video covering my trap roles, and I'll link it at the end of this one. So first up, we're going to place a wall pusher here. This wall pusher is probably the most important trap in the game. It forces the husks to walk a certain way and they get smacked by it and they end up recycling. And you know how powerful recycling is. This second wall pusher pushes them back, and hopefully if the other one's on reload, you can get them out of the tunnel. The next one is going to be on this wall, so we're going to have a total of 4, and you can just kind of envision what we're trying to do here. You can see how we're trying to push them backwards out of the tunnel and just not do damage to them. This, coupled with wall lights and floor spikes and gas traps and all the other stuff you can use, really helps delay the husks getting to the objective. Although you can use any traps here, make sure you always put a floor spike in front of the entrance. The slow lasts 1.25 tiles or 2 tiles, and everybody has a different number, but it lasts longer than 1 tile. So you make sure you alternate them. And when you alternate them, you're going to need other traps in those other spots. You can use whatever you like. In this case, I happen to use floor spikes, but you don't need to use these. In fact, I usually don't recommend them. However, you can use a freeze trap or flame trap, and although I'll never recommend that trap either, so it's up to you. But I like freeze traps for most things. Okay, so now you have 4 walls left, and Depending on the kind of wave is depending on what kind of trap you're going to use. If it's anything but fire, you're going to use wall dynamos and wall lights. If it is fire, you're going to use wall lights and wall darts. Those are the best bet you're going to go. The wall lights, and you should use them in alternating order. Wall lights are what help you slow and stun them, and the wall darts help you do a little more DPS at a much farther range, and in fact they hit the entire tunnel, so even if something's at the back end of it, they will still get hit. But if you want to use a wall dynamo, that's fine too. We've got 4 tiles left. Let's talk about ceiling traps. Number 1, we're going to use gas traps. Of course, I don't have to cover why, we just are. It's the best trap in the game. It's the best gun in the game. And besides gas traps, we don't have anything except nature traps, so if it's a fire wave, you can double up on the gas traps. Otherwise, use an alternating pattern of gas trap, ceiling zapper, or ceiling electric field, and then another gas trap. Just alternate them because the gas traps do ticking damage. So I almost forgot, there's one more thing that I have to tell you about that only helps a slight bit, but if we're talking late game content, those slight bits add up. Now take Frostnite for example. In the best case scenario, you could take this tunnel and not only make it 4 tiles, but make it 8. Make it 12. Make it 12 tiles long. That is a lot of traps, that is a lot of damage, that is a lot of stalling that you're going to achieve. In this gameplay, absolutely nothing made it through until I got donated like 30 subs on my channel and I stopped paying attention. Long story short. However, you can see it just doing work. Look at all of those numbers. But I want to touch on one last thing. If you look closely inside the tunnel, on the middle part, you will see there is an extra archway. The archway can be replaced by a couple of things, but the archway does work. That just adds a modicum of slowing down to the husks. They have to walk around instead of walking through. However, you do not want to use certain things, and that's due to where our wall pushers are. If we take a look back at the other video, you can see that I'm not using inverted triangles in the tunnel or anything like that because I don't want the wall pushers to push them into the tunnel and then they only go 1 tile instead of 2. So you have to be careful which ones you use. You can see right here in the middle I use a tiny one, a tiny wall. I forgot, 2 tile wall. I don't know what you want to call it. Just the small one. Now what can happen is a husk. I've seen it work on every single husk except the smasher, but I'm pretty sure it works on them too. They get knocked over that middle piece and end up where you want them 2 tiles away anyway. And then for the front parts, you want to put either inverted triangles or whatever they're called and just make them walk as far as humanly possible or as huskily possible. All right, I'll stop now. Okay, the last reason why this trap tunnel is so good is that middle wall. For some reason, the husks just don't want to push it down and they always walk around, leading to the pathing time for this tunnel to be incredibly high. It is not a straight shot, they are zigzagging. If you take a note from our zigzag tunnel, we know that making them zigzag left and right really accumulates a lot of time on the clock and makes them easy to take down. It makes them stack up and funnel and just bottleneck and just get decimated by either your guns or your traps. Now in this video right here, I did something interesting. We got really lucky on a spawn and it was directly ahead of the bomb. Now on the right hand side we have the alternator and on the left hand side is the trap tunnel we're going to cover next because it is good. It's a timeout box, just an OG timeout box with certain traps in it, but we'll discuss that in the other video. I was trying to compare which one works better and I have to say that I gotta give it to the alternator. The pathing time on it is just so much better. They get touched by so many more traps. You can see that smasher just walking out and then everything's on reload. And the second smasher only takes damage from 6 out of the 14 traps that are in that tunnel, allowing a lot less damage to happen. Now, however, if they do get pushed by that wall launcher into the timeout box, then yes, it probably is a slightly better trap. The knockdown from the wall launcher, them getting up, possibly frozen, stuck there, having to walk around. You can see the tiny walls that we made on the left-hand side, pushing them in, but look at the right-hand tunnel. I don't think anything's getting past the first zone, and if they do they get thrown out anyway, or at least have the ability to. The timeout box doesn't do that. Now the timeout box does have its place in the game, but I really think that the alternator beats it. It has a longer pathing time, and with a longer pathing time comes the ability to do more damage. Whether your traps are on reload or not, the ability to do more damage is there. Now, I'm not going to lie and say every trap tunnel is perfect. In this particular game, although I haven't seen this like ever really before, I think it has something to do with how close we are to the tunnels. The Smasher started beating on the dividing wall, and I'm not sure exactly why. We couldn't really figure it out, but even if they do, it doesn't matter too much, because as long as you have a constructor on that wall, it'll take them a very long time to actually knock it down, and will probably get flung out of the tunnel. And if you position yourself differently, it probably won't happen again. But you can see this Smasher here getting beat up in this tunnel. See, I wasn't sure if they would get flung over that low wall. In that case, they didn't, but I'm pretty sure they can. Again, another Smasher is banging on the wall, but he'll get knocked back too, and hopefully they will path a little differently. As long as they're not charging at that wall, we are good to go. So yeah, guys, this is the Alternator. If you don't know how to build this tunnel, I suggest learning so from this video, hopefully. It is a fantastic tunnel, probably the best in the game. Yes, it's super expensive. Yes, if you're an OG player, you probably already know this one. But if you're new to this game and you're looking forward to endgame, which is the events that we get that are level 128, and you want to give it a shot, you're gonna need to learn this tunnel. This is exactly what got me through level 128 Fortnite, and it will get you through it too. There's been a lot of changes with the game ever since we got our last event. I'm very excited to see how our new hero loadouts hold up against the new content. Thank you so much for watching this one, guys. If you want to check it out live on stream, I do live testing, we do giveaways, we do all of that stuff. Twitch.tv/Roundedtiktak, especially our Saturday streams. Those are a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll see you there. If you want to join our gaming community and you're tired of AFKers and leechers and traders, come join the Discord. It's in the description below. Just click the link and join on up. We would love to have you. There's more videos coming this week, I promise. I'm trying to get back on my grind. I will see you then. TikTak out.